Hi.
So, on our journey south to find someplace warm, we ended up at Myrtle Beach, where it was not warm at all.
No.
It was cold.
It's cold.
And we were in winter coats, and the wind was insane. But my children wanted to go in the water. Not so much Ben, not the baby, but the girls thought that they should be able to get into the ocean while we were in Myrtle Beach, because we were staying at Myrtle Beach State Park, which was lovely. We had a little bit of a time getting in our spot, but we got help. Granted, it was only the third time we had moved, so Brian did an excellent job. Well, we got help, and we got in, and we were straight, and it was good. But we were able to walk right to the beach, and the sunsets were beautiful. The kids liked walking along the boardwalk that went down to the pier. There was a playground right along the way there, out on the water. And we were right across from the restrooms, which was nice. And it was a good spot. We were there for 3 nights. We were able to explore boardwalk at the beach, and that's where Ripley's Aquarium is, and Wonderworks, and lots of different shops and things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very touristy.
Very touristy.
And coming from Williamsburg in Virginia, which is also a tourist town, it's all the same stuff. It's Ripley's, it's fudge shops, it's knickknacks, it's
Southern things,
big name restaurants,
right?
That sort of stuff. We're very used to that,
right? But it worked out all right to go there. We spent one day there. The girls went to Wonderworks with Brian because Tara insisted on going. We had never been to one.
No. And we'll never go back.
No.
It's just an overpriced playground.
Very overpriced.
Yeah.
Because Ben was too small for it, he and I just walked around the whole boardwalk at the beach area. It was cold, but we were able to go into the different shops, and it kept him entertained for the hour and a half that you were in there.
Yeah.
I got lots of steps that day, which worked out well for me. And the girls were able to go and experience something that they had begged to go and do, and then realized that it was a tourist trap.
Like we told them.
Like we told them, and now we don't have to hear about going to Wonderworks in any other big city we ended up going to.
It was fun, though, because before we went in, if you haven't seen Wonderworks, it's the big upside-down building thing. They have one here, they have one in Gatlinburg, and one, I think, in Toronto.
I feel like there's one in Orlando, too, I'm sure.
They're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
Oh, no, that was the Aquarium. Those
right.
places.
Right.
But yeah, so Wonderworks is a big upside-down building. And as we were walking up to it, I was able to convince Tara that the gravity inside was upside down.
Right. The 8-year-old.
So, yeah, the 8-year-old. I'm convincing. Or she's gullible, or both. So the whole time as we were walking up to it from the parking lot, I was telling her that, you know, when we go through the door, like into the place, we're gonna have to like jump and kick our feet up to stand on the floor. And she totally thought it. Like the whole walk up to it, she was like, "I'm really nervous. Is
it gonna work?"
So that was actually more fun than anything we did inside. The only thing she really had any fun with was there was a ropes course that you had to like get in a harness and snap into the overhead stuff and do all of that. Brooke was too small for it, so I wasn't able to go do it with Tara. But other than that, it was, I don't know, it was like a bunch of science things, and it was just really loud and really crowded because it was cold out, so a lot of people were there.
Yeah. I'm sure there's always a lot of people there regardless of
the weather. For the price is just not great.
Brooke was free, right?
Yeah.
Was Brooke free? So the 3-year-old was free, but there wasn't a lot of stuff that she was able to interact with just because of the level of the stuff, or she just wasn't tall enough to do it.
So whatever.
There you go. Live and learn.
Yeah, we tend to avoid touristy things anyway.
Yes.
Just because we know, like, things that are overpriced, and where you go to a visitor center and they have deals and coupons and all that stuff.
We've lived that, and so we know that there's probably better and more exciting and
more authentic experiences,
and
like something
expensive.
that's actually local, because there is nothing specific to Myrtle Beach or anywhere, or Orlando or anything about the Ripley stuff. Like, because the Ripley stuff is everywhere. So if you want to do it, that's cool. We won't be.
No, probably not. We did go to the Ripley's aquarium because the kids really do enjoy an aquarium, and Ben can enjoy it just as much as Tara can because you can see everything in an aquarium. And they had the largest display of Christmas trees
in the South.
In the South. And there were trees for every state. There were trees
plus territories
for every activity you can imagine. They were all beautiful trees, all lit, all over the aquarium. So it was very festive.
You'll see the Texas tree in the video.
But it was an interesting aquarium. Again, it was a little pricey, but I think that we will be spending our money on aquariums that there's a lot more conservation, I think, and you can kind of see the work that they're doing in their communities and with the wildlife that's native to that area. And this was more just here we have stuff in tanks kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So while it was entertaining for the children, it was a little small, and there just wasn't that element of what are we doing to kind of help these animals and help the area around. So
yeah, and for small, it was definitely small. I think we got through it in like an hour.
Yeah,
it was not very long, and again, expensive because it's the Ripley's name. So I don't know.
But the kids enjoyed it, and for an hour and a half, to not be in the cold and not be in the home bus, they enjoyed it.
Yeah.
continued to Charleston. We stayed in South Carolina and just did a short jaunt down to Charleston. We stayed at the Lake Air RV Park in Hollywood, South Carolina. Apparently New Year's Eve is a popular time for people to be in Charleston, so we had to go outside of the city. But it was a nice RV park. All the spaces were pull through, full hookups. There was a playground. There were lots of ponds with these very strange ducks that the children just loved, and they didn't mind being followed around by toddlers and preschoolers. They had a pool that was open and heated and available, even though it was 30 degrees outside.
I don't know if it was heated. It was just warmer than the air, but the air was in the 20s, so that didn't take much effort.
So
I would not have gotten in that water.
Well, no. But it was open and it was available. They had nice
laundromat,
laundry services. They had big washers and dryers, and after being in the state park, we didn't use our washer dryer combo in the RV because it would have used a lot of water, and we weren't hooked up to sewer at the state park, like you're not always, and so we had a few days worth of clothes that need to be washed, and so I was able to use the washer and dryer that they had at the RV park just to get some of the big stuff done. And then I obviously ran a few loads while we were there because we have 5 people and 2 of them are small people who go through clothes very quickly. And so that was nice. There was a walking trail that went around the few ponds and stuff and lakes that they had, and I was able to take Vector the puppy on quite a few nice long walks that I'm sure he enjoyed. He was a little scared of the ducks until he realized that they were ducks, and then he wanted to.
Everything.
He is scared of everything. Poor dog. He's gonna run into so many new things on this trip. He's right below us. It's rubbing his belly while he sleeps. But I think he really enjoyed that part because there were lots of grassy areas for us to walk around in.
So after we got all set up, it was New Year's Eve that it was travel day to Charleston. So after we got all set up, we decided to just drive into town and see what was going on. Mainly just to see the city because we were only there for 2 nights. And we had heard that Charleston was pretty.
Mm-hmm.
So we drove down, did the River Road and Bay Street and all that stuff that kind of goes around the perimeter where there's really old, like really cool looking, beautiful southern homes, just overlooking the water, and there's all these marinas and stuff down there. It's very pretty. And as we were driving through town, it started to get dark, and then we came up on this park in the center of town where they had this big free New Year's Eve thing going on for families. Like they had a stage with performers, and they had bounce house and slides, face painting, and they were giving out lights and
strings of lights, like from Dollar Tree.
Yeah, so that was really cool. So we found a place to park, which was not easy.
Nope.
In a really long truck in that city. It's very tight streets.
It's a city.
It's a city, so it's all residential parking and like permits and all that crap. So I was able to find a place to park, and then we hung out there for probably an hour and a half, and then just went across the street to the Carolina Ale House, had dinner, and came back across the street, and let the kids play for another hour or so, and then we came home and crashed hard. But it was super cool that the city put that on. It was all put on by the city.
And everything was free.
Everything was free. There was no charge for face painting, balloons, none of that stuff. It was very,
they had
cool.
a guy walking around making balloon hats. And Brooke got a princess crown, and Tara got this really cool, like, braided crown, I guess you would say. It was really cool.
Yep. But Ben ended up wearing the princess crown.
Right.
But he loved it. He would not let us take it off of him, actually.
Yeah, and he normally doesn't like to wear hats.
Yeah.
The performers that they had, like, just young kids that were dancing, like, breakdancing to popular music. And then they had the girls, I guess they were more ladies, that had, like, the fire rings, and they were doing, like, the fire dances. Ben just loved all of it. At one point we went over and they had just invited the local kids up on stage to dance, and he was dancing on the floor, like on the grass, and so I put him up with a couple of the other toddlers, and he just stood there. I mean, typical white boy, just stood there and did nothing on the stage. All these little girls dancing around him, and he just stood there. And as soon as I put him back on the floor again, or on the ground again, he started dancing again. So that was New Year's Eve. The next day is New Year's Day, and nothing was open.
Oh, yeah, nothing.
Nothing was open.
None of the museums we wanted to go
to. We didn't really think this through.
Yeah, it just, so, yeah, a combination of, you know, New Year's Day, and then, I mean, you'll see what happened next when we got to Savannah with the snowstorm. So we've had a lot of not being able to do what we were planning to do.
Yeah.
But that's going to happen.
That's
so,
all right. It's
yeah,
just
it's
what
fine.
it is. And we found other things to keep the children entertained so they weren't bored. Because, you know, we can't have bored 8-year-olds. Not everybody likes to drive around the town, so, yeah.
Yeah. Yep, so we drove around and explored a bit. We drove out to Patriots Point just so I could throw the drone up in the air. Because probably not supposed to fly over that area.
No.
But it's probably the only opportunity I'm going to have to fly over an aircraft carrier, so I didn't really want to pass it up.
You didn't really fly over it.
No, I was nowhere near it, actually.
You flew near it. You flew near it.
I was over the parking lot.
Right. At the hotel that was next to it, not the museum or the thing.
So, yeah, so it was mostly a driving tour of Charleston. We stopped and had lunch at one of the local barbecue places. That was pretty good. And that was really it. It was just too cold and everything was closed. So, sorry.
Sorry. We'll see you next time.
So that was our visit to South Carolina, Myrtle Beach and Charleston. Both very, very cool towns. So definitely check them out if you get the chance. We're going to try and do some more inland South Carolina, because there's a whole lot more to that state. But that's going to have to be another time around, because we're heading down the coast. So make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, check us out on Instagram, Facebook, all that fun stuff, and we will catch you later.
Bye!